sheriff was convicted of beating a black woman. That sheriff is going to get sentenced next month. Well, the U.S. attorney goes before the judge and says they want a delay in the case because he wants to review this case. And the judge is like, I'm sorry, you got time between now and the sentencing, so no, there will not be any delay in sentencing. Meghann Cuniff joins us right now. Meghann, glad to have you on the show. This is crazy to me. We've seen this. Trump, when he got inaugurated, he issued a pardon for a cop who they chased down and they shot a black man in Washington, D.C. We've seen other stories where they are pulling out of settlements that in Alabama, a case in Louisiana regarding petrochemical companies. But when it comes to cops, they literally are letting cops get away with heinous crimes because Trump does not believe that they need to be adjudicated. Walk us through what happened with this item you posted today.
And I think it's with that background that you provided that people are a little worried on the victim side, at least, about what's going to happen with the attorney or with the U.S. attorney wanting to review this case. Because, of course, the prosecutors have so far taken an aggressive stance here against this. They've opposed the motion for acquittal, directed verdict from his attorneys. But, of course, that was before Trump appointed this new guy in. And the first indication we got that he might have a different view on the case occurred when they asked for this long 3-month delay in a sentencing. And this is a case that only took 3 days to actually try before a jury. But for some reason, they said, we don't want to do the sentencing in May. Can we do it in August now? And of course, the defense wanted to go along with that because they're hoping that this new U.S. attorney somehow persuades the judge to throw the case out. But they're in a bit of a bind because the prosecutors already have a conviction. So the prosecutors might be in a place where they're trying to almost undermine their own conviction, but the conviction still stands, and it's really up to the judge whether to throw it out, and he's already said no.
And again, so give us the background of this case. What happened?
So this was outside of a Winco. I think those are pretty specific to the West Coast, Washington, Idaho, Nevada, California, and Oregon, but they're grocery stores. And a deputy responded to a robbery call there, and a couple, the woman who is the victim here and then a man she was with supposedly matched the description of the robbers. And the prosecutors in their case against this deputy say that the two deputies did everything right with the man, that they were able to de-escalate the situation and take him into custody without incident. But the woman was filming this and telling them that she was filming it. She was even telling them that, hey, I've got this on YouTube Live. And the prosecutor's theory is that this one deputy really didn't like that, and he wanted to retaliate against this woman. It just made him mad that he was being filmed like that, and he ended up taking her to the ground and pepper spraying her. And of course, this is all on body camera footage. And the police said that, the prosecutor said that he had no justifiable means to do that. That was excessive force, and that was the case they presented to the jury. And the jury said, yes, that's excessive.
Okay, so deputy sheriff, excessive force against this black woman, does nothing wrong. They go to trial, last 3 days. Jury says, you're right. He gets convicted. They set a sentencing. Now, Trump's U.S. attorney wants to come in and say, hey, we want to review the case. And, okay, it's already done. It's already done. And this judge said, what the hell? That's 3 weeks, 4 weeks before sentencing. You got time to review it in a month.
Yeah. The judge was really saying, why would you need more time than the time that you already have right now to review this? And it was interesting because I went there expecting the new U.S. attorney to be there, wanting to talk about this case, but he just left this to the line prosecutors who were there trying to explain why they should delay a sentencing for 3 months. And it was an awkward dance. They were dancing in front of the judge for sure, and he really didn't buy it. I mean, it was 6 minutes of a kind of back and forth, and then he just said, motion denied, sentencing proceeds on the 19th. So it's a big question of what are they going to recommend for this guy? The maximum is 10 years in prison, and it's unlikely under any circumstances that he would face the maximum. But you would expect prosecutors to recommend some kind of prison sentence. But I think people are worried. People who support this prosecution are worried that it's going to be undermined from the inside now.
Well, first of all, I mean, let's look. We see what happened, and where 3 prosecutors today in New York City resigned in the case dealing with Mayor Eric Adams, where they issued a scathing letter where the Trump administration was trying to pressure them to, frankly, lie about not being pressured, and they quit. And what we're seeing where Trump's U.S. attorneys are coming into office and literally undoing cases, crapping on the work of prosecutors who say, no, we got us a conviction, that's our job. And when it involves cops, especially involving cops, Trump wants to let those cops off scot-free.
Yeah, I think a lot of people see it that way. And what some people are concerned about is they indicate in court yesterday that Bill, the new U.S. attorney in L.A., this is not the only case that he's reviewing right now. So I've asked the U.S. Attorney's Office, Public Information Office, if they can say what other cases are being reviewed here. And I've yet to hear back. So we'll see.
Well, and the reason the folks with the victim had better be concerned, because in January, literally, when Trump let the January 6th domestic terrorists free via pardons, he also pardoned 2 cops in Washington, D.C., who were convicted in the 2020 death of Karan Hilton Brown. These cops were found guilty of second-degree murder, conspiracy to obstruction of justice in connection with the death. And what was crazy to me is that Washington, D.C., did not like the fact that these cops are being prosecuted. They felt they could have handled this with an administrative hearing, and the U.S. Attorney's Office was like, no, this should actually go to trial. They were convicted. Trump pardoned those cops for that. And so I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't be shocked if this judge, no matter what he sentences with, that Trump turns around and pardons this police abuser.
Exactly. And I've heard from this police officer's camp that really is supporting him that's what they're going for, that they've gone to Washington, D.C. And I'm a little amazed at their use of the word lawfare and their insistence that this must have been a political prosecution, because just having reported on federal cases in Los Angeles for a few years, the unit that prosecuted this police officer, it's the Public Corruption and Civil Rights Unit of the U.S. Attorney's Office. And they're supposed to be nonpartisan, but really when you look at the cases that they've done, at least the cases that I've covered, most of the people they've prosecuted that I've written about have been Democrats. So the idea that there's somehow just these, neoliberals that are just going on, anti the Trump agenda, it's not true at all. But then you have some people on the other hand who actually appear to be playing politics with this case. They got somebody in office that appears to not like what the jury did, and they're hoping that they can get him to try to bend the case to their will. I mean, it seems like they're the ones trying to play politics with it.
But unfortunately, Meghann, it is the anti-Trump agenda. Trump is anti-civil rights. And so Trump does not believe in civil rights. He said during the campaign, he wanted to give cops 100% immunity. We tried to warn people about this, and that the problem here is that this was not a state prosecution. So I got to ask you this. Was this officer, was he tried by the state, or did the state step away and allow the feds to move forward? So if that's the case, so the only way Trump can intervene if it's a federal case, was there ever a state prosecution?
The state prosecutors in L.A. did look at the case. They did not prosecute him. That's why it was federal. And that's actually something that his supporters are pointing at. And it's not the worst point, because George Gascon, who was in L.A. and didn't prosecute him, does like to prosecute cops. I mean, the idea that Gascon would not prosecute someone who deserved to be prosecuted, they were really pointing to if Gascon wouldn't take this case, the prosecutors must have been really out of line to take this case. But I think there's a whole other side to that. And in the end, from what I've seen from their defense, it's everything that was presented to a jury. And the overall defense is that he was following policy and that they all do this in these situations. So I think it's a little bit alarming that 12 people in LA County or the federal jury area around LA heard all this and saw the video of her being pepper sprayed and still said, this is out of line. We shouldn't have officers doing it. And the police response to this is not to take it to heart and wonder about this. Maybe some are, but overall, the response is that they're being unfairly treated and that this is just
because that does tell exactly with what Trump thinks. He believes, and a lot of these conservatives believe, and these cops believe, that they should be able to do whatever they want. We know for a fact the last time the twice impeached, criminally convicted felon in chief sat in the Oval Office, Jeff Sessions and Bill Barr specifically said they were pulling back from consent decrees. They all decried the morale of cops. Then you've got so-called progressives, liberals like Bill Maher, who praised Trump restoring the morale of cops. And let's just be honest. Police in this country cannot stand oversight, and they can't stand accountability. And anytime a single cop is held responsible, their response is like some petulant child, and they respond with, we're not going to police, we're not going to answer calls, oh my God, this is unfair. I mean, you rarely ever see a cop say, you know what? That asshole should no longer be on the force. No, they are protective of each other because they say, oh, it might be us one day, and we want the same protection.
Yeah, one of the deputies, the sheriff's deputies who are supporting this guy, one of their ways of protesting this conviction, there's an annual relay. It's Baker to Vegas. It's a big marathon, happens every year. It's the prosecutor's office is really big into it. The police officers always form teams for it. Some of the deputies actually boycotted the relay as a way of protesting this conviction. I mean, it's the thin blue line and the whole idea that being blue is somehow an ethnicity or something that they seem to latch onto.
Well, I'm going to call it the thick blue line because we see this all around the country. The folks supporting the victim, how are they responding? What are they doing? Are they just hoping the judge do right? Are they any public pressure? What are they doing in this case?
Yeah, I think they're hoping for a lenient sentence, but really it's a pardon that they need right now because the problem for them is their guy came in after the conviction already happened. So once there's a conviction, it's in the judge's hand. And he actually issued a ruling on Friday saying, no, the conviction stands. So maybe there's a chance he would give a lenient sentence, but the conviction will always be there. So I think they're hoping they can get Trump to issue a pardon on this. And it's interesting because the police aren't completely uniform on this. He has some vocal supporters. The former sheriff in LA County is one of them. But the current sheriff is, I think, takes a little bit of a different tone. And so it's not completely unified, but it's still, I think they're still clamoring for that pardon. So we'll see.
Well, for folks who don't know, that former sheriff was the one who I'll call him a thug. And then he lost, and then he tried to run for re-election. And did he switch parties? So explain what happened there because he had some serious problems.
Yeah, he's a story all in himself. And as far as I know, at least through the years, Villanueva has been a Democrat, but he definitely embraces the fake news aspect of the MAGA agenda for sure. But he's definitely been on the deputy side, Deputy Kirk's side, and he was in court for him. And there's even video after the verdict of them hugging in the hallway outside the courthouse.
Yeah, but he was also the one. Didn't he also launch an investigation into reporters who were reporting in some cases?
Yes, all sorts of that stuff. All sorts of that stuff. He's not a friend to the press, that's for sure.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, for the woman who was beaten here, I really think, and I'll be perfectly honest, knowing how this is going to turn out, I think the solace they're going to have is that the guy was convicted. Whatever the judge sentences him, I would not be shocked, and I will put money on it, that within a week of this sentencing, it may be the next day, Trump is going to pardon this cop.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're going to find out in less than a month. Then it seems like so May 19th, and then they've got to file their papers too, saying in the weeks before, saying how much time they're gonna ask for them. So it'll be interesting to see the tone on that. But Roland, I think you're predicting the future here. We might be talking about this later on.
Yeah, and so unfortunately, we have to deal with this constantly, and where this man does not believe that cops should be held accountable for anything, and he said that he wants 100% immunity. So, as he said, they can do their jobs, and these cops know that with Donald Trump, they have a 100% license, and that's why people like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh and these conservatives are calling for Trump to pardon the cop that killed George Floyd on the federal charges. They want him to pardon him on those charges because they know that they have somebody in office who's going to use the pardon power to let cops go free.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a real life example play out here over the next few weeks here in LA. So I'm so glad you're interested in the case.
Well, we've been covering these things. This is what we warn people about with Credit 2025. We warn people. And this is also why on social media I've been challenging all of these black MAGA folks by saying, if y'all so-called claim that you support black people, it's amazing how they are eerily quiet on every single move that Donald Trump makes that's anti-black until they expose exactly who they are. So we'll keep looking forward to it. Look forward to see what this judge does.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time.